Alright, as we continue on to this journey, let's talk about the last few engines I got. Alright, we're going to start off with the narrow gauge engines. We're going to start off with Peter Sam. Surprisingly, the first narrow gauge engine they worked on was Rusty and Peter Sam. This is a 2001 Peter Sam, but this one doesn't have a name on the bottom, ironically. There's number 4. Top. He has no name, even though he's from 2001. And his face looks really good. It's a really good face. Looks just like Peter Sam from Season 4. And there's his little widow's peak in that weird tinge of green that he's painted in. Next up, we got Sir Handel, who came out in 1997. This is a 2000 model. This is 2000 with no name. This is Sir Handel. His old style model is fabulous. And again, mint condition. Very lovely condition. This one has a ledge. And there's his face. That face looks really good. It's a really nice face. And my last narrow gauge engine I have is a 2004 Skarloey. This is basically an old style Skarloey, but thing is, his widow's peak is not on the back. And his was just like his original model had a wooden funnel, no name, and a very obvious design widow's peak on the back. Same shape that was like the earlier engines. It looked like this, except it was flat. It was very flat, just like Edward. Skarloey didn't, and even Stepney and Skarloey, as well as Edward, had flat widow peaks where they were designed the same, but kept an extra part of wood sticking outwards of on the bottom behind of the cab. So this one doesn't have that little tracing of the widow's peak because this is the actual 2004 Skarloey. And but otherwise everything else though looks just like his 1999 to 2001 design, other than no tracing of that little flat widow's peak. I call it flat widow's peak because it wasn't sticking out, but it's still designed the same. His name's on the bottom, right there, as you can see. His wheels are dated 2003, because as we know, anything past 2003 still were dated 2003 until 2012, when Mattel first owned the rights to Wooden Railway. And this model is great. I love the face. The face looks just like Skarloey. This is a really nice Wooden Railway model. And this one does not have lead paint, so I'm happy about that. Alright, now we got some Railway Series engines. Let's start off with Ivo Hugh. I actually had this one as a kid. This is not my childhood one. I lost my childhood one, sadly. I got rid of it a long time ago, which is unfortunate. I wish I didn't do that. And, get off of there, Mike. Sorry about that. Anyway, he is from the Railway Series. He's from the Christopher Awdry's book, The New Little Engine. Ivo Hugh has an okay face. His face doesn't look bad. And there's the side, and there's the back. Now, just like Skarloey and Stepney, now early 2002 models of this character actually did have a little outline tracing of the widow's peak. And the thing is, the widow's peak was a little design that Learning Curve used to put the top body part of the wood onto the flatbed. The flatbed of the engines, most engines had a widow's peak. And the thing is, they got rid of that design in 2003. They just made the flatbed very flat. And it was a little mechanism that they got rid of because they thought they didn't really need to use it anymore. So 2002 was the last year to use that widow's peak design to produce Thomas Wooden Railway models. But yeah, otherwise though, this is Ivo Hugh. Not a bad model, but I'm not a big fan of his face. The face is okay. I've seen better faces. That's just me. Alright, next up we got these two fellas. Let's start off with the smallest engine. We got Mike. This model, some of you might think this is James, but some of you will obviously know the difference. This character appeared in Wilbur Awdry's 22nd book, Small Railway Engines. And thing about it is that this is actually a really nice model. Let's start off with his tender. His tender is not the same. It's not the same tender as Edward, Gordon, and James. This one, the tender, this part right here is flat and sticking outwards, which is nice. It says Arsdale, which I like. It says Mike's tender. This is a 2002, by the way. This is a 2002 model. And there's the face. Mike is in really good condition. The face looks really good. I got Mike used out of a train convention, and he's actually a really nice model. His boiler is made out of yellow plastic, and he does have a widow's peak, but of course it's not sticking out. It's flat. You don't see the widow's peak, but this little flat part of the bed stayed there until he was discontinued in 2005. But in earlier 1999, 2001 models, there is a little widow's peak hole right here. It's kind of hard to see, but camera. As probably some of you know, some of his earlier models has that little widow's peak, that little rectangular square widow's peak sticking upwards in the middle of the bottom flatbed. His is there. He actually has one because 2002, like I said, was the last year where the Wind Railway models were designed with the widow's peak for the flatbeds. But this one's painted in a lot of red, so it's painted in very deeply, so it's not that noticeable. For me, I can notice it because I could see a little outline. It's very, well, it's not really outlined, but like you could see where it's located, if that makes sense. But that's Mike. But I will say for Mike, his face, it looks just like Mike in the Railway series, but I'm not gonna lie, his Pac-Man eyes kind of make this model's face a little creepy. But other than that, though, I really like this model. I really do like Mike. He's not a bad model. And then the last engine I have is Big City Engine. Now, Big City Engine came out in 2002. However, he never had the widow's peak design right there. His never had one, surprisingly. Never had that design. This is a 2003 variant with nice big wheels and a really nice face. The face is not bad on this model. And surprisingly, as a kid, I thought the Big City Engine was the Flying Scotsman, but it turns out it's not. It's not the Flying Scotsman. It's a complete different engine. And then his tender. This tender is different and really nice. I like this design tender. But yeah. And he has a name. He's dated 2003. And as a kid, I always wanted this model. And I got this model when I was in 9th grade. No, I take that back. 10th grade. When I was 15 years old, I got this model. So this was a really nice model. I was happy to get this model. Alright. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I have my childhood. This is my only surviving childhood model of a bronze 60th anniversary diesel. He is beaten up and chipped to death, but he's been loved. Yep. This diesel does not have a widow's peak at all. They got rid of that in 2003. And there's the face. Alright. Finally, we got rolling stock. We got we have updated the rolling stock quite a bit. Let's talk about my favorites, Annie and Clarabelle. Annie and Clarabelle, let's start off with Annie. This is a 2001 Annie and a 2003, early 2003 Clarabelle. Now for Annie, she looks exactly the same. Same paint job. Same as her 90s counterpart, except Annie didn't, and Clarabelle didn't look like this, didn't have a white cab until 1996, but around 1992 to 1995, they both had a gray cab, which is really nice. Had a gray roof cab. But yeah, this is a really nice Annie, dated 2001. There's the bottom with the name. And yeah, that's Annie. And then here's Clarabelle, 2003, dated 2003. It looks like 2001 or 2002, but this one actually is dated 2003. And this model had a 2002 style box, so it wasn't a bad model. I love this model because it is the old style model, just dated 2003, just like Stepney. All right. Then we got Catherine, who's missing the piece of rolling stock. This is all I got from her. This is a 2002 final variation with a noticeable over-painted widow's peak. As you can see, it's noticeable. And then we got a Soder Fuel Wagon that came with my figure 8, Stop and Go figure 8 set from 2001. That came with Thomas, and this 2001 Soder Line Caboose with the name, 2001 figure 8 set. And finally, that came with my old style lady, this cargo car with the numsters. And that concludes my Thomas Wooden Railway collection of 2021. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I'll get more camera tripods for my camera. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a late Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's.